€280 per bottle, is a Super Tuscan, and it's a blend of those 4 grapes that I mentioned, the Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon, Shiraz and Sangiovese grapes. It's a blend. They protect with great secrecy the blends that they use, the percentage of each grape that they use. But I do know that the aging techniques that they use also are something that they experimented with a great deal. And in producing this wine, once they've got the blend, once they've got the wine ready to go into the barrels, well, they put it to bed first of all for a year in oak. And then it comes from the oak and it spends another year in a barrel made of pear wood, before sleeping for a year in a barrel made of cherry wood. And then another year finally, just to add a little elegance to the wine, he tells me, a year to rest in olive wood before it comes out of the wood and spends a year sleeping in the bottle. So from vine to glass, some 5 years resting in 4 different types of barrel, which all impart different flavours of vanilla, of chocolate, of the refined elegance, he tells me, of the olive wood, and of course the wood, the woody flavour of the oak. So the techniques that they use also something very unique with regards to the aging of the wines. And certainly if you're interested in your wines, there are a few of the wines I'd say to look out for, ladies and gents. Whether you're out and about by yourself and having a bite of lunch, and you have a look through the wine list, you'll always find on any list in Italy, you'll find your Tuscan wines. The Brunellos from Montalcino, Chianti Classicos and Super Tuscans. The price of these wines, if you were to want to buy some to take less with his Trident and Upsprung Water. Athena, on the other hand, we've been passing a number of tobacco plantations also as we've come down through the south of Tuscany, and we'll continue to do so now because, you know, Tuscany of course was all the rage, but it's all been bought now, and these things go through cycles. For the last 20 years, Tuscany has been one of the places to visit, but now Umbria is attracting people because it is a lot less touristed, because a lot of the land still hasn't been bought. Very beautiful hilltop towns and villages, more than 100 of them throughout the little region of Umbria. Umbria is famous for its truffles, tartufo, the black and white truffles, which, well, I think some of you in some parts of the world now, they're starting to be farmed. I think when I was in Tasmania, I saw a lot of reference to truffles, tartufo. Here in Umbria, they go out and just find them, particularly along the tree lines by riverbanks. Here's our sign coming up telling us that we'll depart Toscana and enter into Umbria. Coming up on the right hand side down here. Toscana with the red line through it. So these are just mark the regional borders between the various regions of Italy. So welcome to Umbria, ladies and gents, the green heart of Italy, Tuscany's little sister. Yeah, here in the hills and along the riverbanks, along the lines of particularly horse chestnut trees, they go searching for these truffles, which are a relative of mushrooms. They're like a fungi, and they grow in the ground up to 1 metre under the top of the soil. So of course, therefore they're very difficult things to find. Here's some tobacco down here on the left-hand side and the right. Tobacco plants. Always the tobacco's in at this time of the year, planting the tobacco this time of the year. They're usually planted after the sunflowers, thereabouts. So, you know, traditionally when they were looking for these tartufo, these truffles, which come in both black and white varieties, these things are very expensive. A small tartufo the size of the end of your thumb could cost 30 euros. And they can become as big as a fist, a clenched fist. And the one the size of a clenched fist could be 100 euros. Very pungent these things are. They're a very strong flavour, and if you were to sit one in a room unwrapped for an hour, the entire room would smell of this very pungent odour, which is the smell of the tartufo. Traditionally, they used to go and find them with pigs. The pigs would sniff them out. The pigs weren't sniffing them out for the people, the pigs were sniffing them out for themselves. You know, the pigs enjoy eating them. So it used to be terribly difficult once the pig found them to get them off the pig. These days they use dogs. I've been out on a few occasions looking for truffles. It's always a fun adventure chasing the dog around, because again the dog isn't looking for the tartufo for you or for the dog's owner. He's looking for the tartufo for himself. And just like the dogs that are trained to find drugs, the dogs become addicted to these things. And tartufo are very tasty. So you're often running along the riverbanks under the trees chasing the dog. I'll tell you about one of their famous miracles first, because in about 20 kilometres from here we're going to drive past the town of Orvieto. It sits perched up on a 100-metre high volcanic rock plateau, and the site is quite impressive. It sits up so high with the skyline dominated by the Duomo, the cathedral, and fighting for Christianity. Well, part of this happened as he grew in his late teen years. He went off and fought in the wars against Perugia, as all the young men did. He was captured. You know, the people of these towns, they're right next door to each other. Just a few kilometres separate them. And even back then, they knew that by kidnapping the sons of the wealthy, or taking them hostage, that they could demand very big ransoms. So Francesco was taken hostage. His family. He regained his health. He continued to pray, to become very close to God, and continued to dream of going away to the Crusades. So this was what he prepared for next. You know, his father went out and bought him everything he could possibly need for a successful crusade. A big new steed, a new horse to ride away to. They used to leave from Bari, where we're going to leave.
Tobacco, ladies. Oh, is that right? Is that tobacco?
Nip out there, mate. Slide the fuel lead down.
Can you feel some air coming through there, guys?
Tobacco.
I think we all get Paris for free.
Oh, I think so.
Did I hear discount?
No.